Hello there. Many New Zealanders around the country are asking themselves the same question right now. Why are Christmas decorations going up in early November? I mean, when are we going to finally see the coalition agreement and what's going to happen with the next government? And the answer to that is probably not for a little while, at least a couple of weeks. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The media is creating a narrative that this is taking a really, really long time to organise, but the reality is the parties have only had the final results, so only know what their bargaining power really is for a week. And most negotiations for coalition take about 4 to 6 weeks to organise. Because while this time round Winston has said, yeah, I'm going to work with these people, those specific details haven't really been hammered out yet. And we know that all three parties that are going to be part of this coalition have very different stances on a range of issues. And so they have to find common ground essentially to work together. And that's just what negotiations are. But Winston's been in this position before, and it takes a little while for a really good reason. You see, in 1996, when Winston went into negotiations with both Labour and National, one of the things that the National Party did rather sneakily was put into the coalition agreement that they would only do what was agreed to be done if the money was there for it. It was a rider that Finance Minister Bill Birch, another former Port Waikato MP, put into that particular agreement, which meant that if National didn't really want to do something, they could just tell New Zealand First that they couldn't afford to do so. And that was part of the reason that led to their falling out and Jim Bolger being rolled, and then a whole bunch of stuff with Jenny Shipley, and you kind of know the history. But that means that going into negotiations, Winston is really, really careful about what's on offer and what's being presented to him and therefore to the voters. And when you've got somebody like Christopher Luxon, who might not necessarily be the most nuanced when it comes to his negotiating skills, after all, he apparently didn't realize he was doing this, Winston's going to be really careful about what is on offer. And when you've got ACT thrown into the mix as well, who also have very different policies to the other two in some areas, there's a lot of detail that has to be locked down. But when this is happening, well, in the past, Winston has done his level best to avoid talking to the media. When he's in Parliament and when he's campaigning, there's a hell of a circus. But when he's in negotiations, he's dead silent, and the media don't like that. That makes it really hard for them to cover the news. They don't have any information. It's a bit of a vacuum, so they grasp at everything, and they do things like put up a cauliflower so you can see how it turns brown while coalition negotiations keep going. And that kind of theatrical drama creates this pressure that we all start to feel that this is taking a really long time. When the reality is, so far it's only been about a week, maybe a week and a half of actual proper negotiations. So when will we get a final result to this talk? Meh, who knows?